Hello, welcome to the Coffee Run Live, episode 430. It is crazy exciting. I wanted to talk with you today about the voices in my head. And it's not just the crazy voices, right? It's actual, helpful voices. It's really funny because I was rolling through some stuff that I was processing the other day, and I was like, I do this a lot. I'll come across different things through journaling or through what it is that I'm doing. And it's like, where's the resistance there? What needs to be done? And what I was thinking about, hey, Lizzie, I was like, I've got this strategy that I thought about, which is having a board of advisors, right? And I remember going back years ago, I was learning an energy healing, as an energy healing practitioner. I learned this technique that was where we could read Akashic records of clients. And one of the things that happened throughout that training is that we had to visualize this boardroom table, if you like, this ancient boardroom table that had all of these people sitting around it. And I'm a very visual person. So I found it really hard without any sort of reference points to kind of imagine what this might look like. I actually also remember reading, I think it was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill years and years and years ago. And one of the things that he talked about as well, I'm pretty sure, and I may have remembered this wrong, I'm pretty sure it was that book where he talked about his board of advisors, and it wasn't about an actual physical person, right, around a table or a mentor that he would get in touch with. It was the people in his head. So as I'm writing in my journal, I had some stuff come up, and I was like, all right, what am I gonna do about this? It was really curious. Hey, Linda. And I was like, all right, well, in this moment, if I was actually having a conversation with this particular person, what would they say? So I remember I ran an event in 2013 called Sales and Marketing Spy School. And one of the ladies in the room said that she said, I want one of those bands with WWND on it. Like, what would Nicola do? And she said, I might even get it tattooed. So I always think, what would Nicola do? And then can go and do that. And I thought, that's, thank you very much. That's really extreme, but okay, whatever you need to do. But what it made me think about was, all right, I've worked with so many different mentors over the years, and I've had such profound results, it was different with each mentor that I worked with, right? Hey, Margaret, it depended who I was working with as to kind of like what I needed from them, and it kind of happened in different ways. Hey, Jill. And great to see you. And it was really kind of curious because I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to go through a bit of a roll call. It's like, all right, well, what would Lauren say? It's like, okay, this is what she would say. And then what would Amber say? And what would Leela say? And what would I was going through the names of all of the mentors that I have worked with in the past. Or people that I haven't even worked with in the past, actually, but maybe, I've thought about a particular author of a certain book that had a really big impact. What would Tim Grover say to me? And it's like, okay, so, processing through there, and I didn't think about them sitting around a table advising me, but in my journal, I was like, all right, well, what would such and such say about this issue? And, some of the advice that I heard from them was, get off your ass and just fucking go do the thing. Other people would say something different, and then somebody else would say something different, and it kind of, and I guess it's not about necessarily knowing that person incredibly well, but having an idea about what they might say to you, because I could say one thing to you and someone else could say the same thing to you, and you might hear it differently. Right? We've all got our own lenses in how we process the information, and how we process advice, and how we actually learn from different people. So, I might say one thing and you might hear it completely different to the way that I intended it, but it might still help you, move forward and take action and get out there and do the thing. So what was really curious for me about my elbow just fell off the table. What was really curious for me about working through this process was I had about 8 different perspectives on this particular issue that I was dealing with. And as I reflected on it, it was like, what advice would I give someone else who was in my position? And I would give all of the advice that had come from all of these all these different people, right? Margaret said, oh, your voice is in my head. Yay! Good, I'm glad. The legacy lives on, right? But it was really interesting because it took the way that it helped me and I trust that it will help you. The way that this helped me was that rather than me sitting there going, well, if I was giving this advice to someone, what would I say? Because it felt a little bit like, I know what the fuck I need to do. I don't want to tell myself what I need to do. I want somebody else to tell me what it is that I need to do. Or I want somebody else to provide me, with the insights here. So I'm like, okay, so what would such and such say? And, scribbling it all down. But then on reflection, it was like, well, that's the exact advice that I would give somebody else. But it felt different because it almost felt like it came from the essence, if you like, of what these other people would say. And what it did do is it gave me a different perspective. It actually gave me a different insight or a different kind of way of coming in and then being able to take action. Because it's like, well, of course, that's what blah, blah, blah person would say. And, that makes complete sense. So what the fuck are you going to do about it? Right, off you go. Go make that happen. So that might be something that helps you. The thing that also helped me with this is that if I close my eyes, I can actually picture having a conversation with that particular person who I was interacting with. So it meant that I could, you know how we get told all the time to visualize different things? And I will often ask you to visualize different stuff or imagine different things. And part of it for me that I really liked with this process that I did at my journaling the other day was that I could actually imagine literally having a conversation with these people, and I could hear exactly the way that they would speak, and I could hear exactly what advice that they would give. And then some of that I didn't like. Some of them I'm like, yeah, I know that's what you would say, but I'm not actually taking that on board today. No, not happening. And then other people, the advice that came up from other people in this journaling process was like, yes, that's exactly right. Like, that's totally what I would say. The interesting thing, the stuff where I was like, nah, not happening. Because one of the things that one of the people would say to me is like, get on the phone. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm unwilling to do that. So it was another good reminder of, bit about my boundaries, I suppose. And, what some things that I'm like, nah, I know that that's something that I can do, but it's not aligned for me. I'm not willing to do that. So even though the voice is in your head, the voice is in my head, there's a cast of thousands in there, let me tell you. Not in a weird, crazy way. Sometimes it seems like it's a little bit weird and crazy. But I think it's just another way of navigating your internal state. But for me, it's imagining a real person that I actually know most of the time, and then imagining what they would say to me rather than going out and asking for that advice from that person. And I don't work with some of these people anymore. So, but most of the mentors that I've worked with have always been long-term, like it's always a long-term relationship. I'm the kind of person who's like, all right, if I'm going to work with someone, I just want the best, the best program, which is usually the most expensive. Like, what is the way that I can have you in my head? What's the way that I can have you in my life? What's the way that I can have you in my world? And what's really interesting is that investment in me with them is actually it's a still ongoing relationship that I'm having with them now, whether they know it or not, whether they like it or not, they've still got me, because I can really imagine that, what would they do? What would they say? So who's on your advisory board? You know, who are the people that you can really kind of like in your mind, in your journal, who can you tap into? And if it's and sometimes you might not know them really, really well. You know, maybe you haven't worked with them at an intensive level before, and that's okay. You can still imagine what they might say. So if it's a what would Nicola do? Like what Margaret has said, like my voice is in her head. There was Amy that used to say, you know, I need one of those bands. It's WWND. You know, if it's what would Nicola say? Then think about that. I think you guys, like a lot of you know me well enough by now through these coffee runs with, you know, the way that I do what I do and how I recommend that you do it, that you might be able to have a bit of a, Nicola might do this. Like I should go do that. Interestingly, 99% of the time, when we externalize that thing to being, all right, what would such and such say and do in this situation, or what advice would they give? It's, you know, it may or may not be the advice that they would give, but it's often the advice that you know that you need to hear. So it kind of gets to wear a different character. It gets to wear a different outfit, and it can be a bit easier to take rather than you just, you know, beating yourself up or telling yourself to do this, that, and the other. And it's like, no, I don't want to do that. So hope that helps you. All right. We've got Funnelicious starting on the 29th. The links are in there. I've got a webinar happening actually in the next 45 minutes, happening in, not in the next 45 minutes, but happening in 45 minutes, which is all about how to market yourself like a rock star and the 4 stages of actually doing that. I'm excited to share that with you. There is an event on my page. I don't have the link handy, so I can't help you with that. Got a bit of a training. It'll go for about, maybe 90 minutes. Go through that training, and I'll be talking a bit more about Funnelicious as well if you want to come and find out what all the fun with that is all about. The link is in the page in the event. Go ahead and register, and I might get to hang out with you for another 90 minutes, which of course would be very, very fun. All right. In the meantime, get out there, go help some people, have a whole ton of fun doing it, and remember the world is ready for your brand of awesome. I will see you tomorrow, everybody, if not before. Bye.